Are we live? Pretty sure we are. So you know what that means. It means it's time to have some fun! Who's ready to party? Who's ready to get crazy? Would you like me to get crazy tonight? Slam the thumbs up button right now. We're about to have an amazing... Yes, we're about to have an amazing, fantastic, awesome, stupendous time. No fake phony football tonight. No, guess what? That shit is done and over with. So we're moving back to where the channel started. Fake space. Taking it back. Doing some old school. Got my party people in the house. Michaelis V says, what's up? Sorry, I get carried away. All right. Got Rose Bell here. She's saying hello to everyone. Hello, Rose Bell. Glad you're laughing already. We got the one and only, the amazing Q and Fee here. And this guy has a channel that is fantastic. I don't recommend many channels, but this is one I would recommend right here. In fact, I plan on showing a little bit of one of his videos later on tonight that has to do with everything about missions to the moon being fake, including the supposed laser reflectors that the astronauts supposedly put there so people could shoot their lasers and be like, see? Reflectors on the moon, see? Yeah, Q and Fee made a great video about it. And so I figured I'd show that later tonight. So I'm glad he's here. He's over in the Netherlands where it's really late. I think they're like 12, 13 hours ahead of the West Coast where I'm at. All right. I think Jonna was here as well. Hi, Jonna. Hello to everybody, all my mods, and Grim Reaper Z, Kevalev, Do QC says, bruh. All right. So, I'm a few days late, 3-4 days late. They did this fake moon landing mission. And I spent all day making a video about how I thought Vince McMahon got replaced. So I didn't even know that there was a fake moon landing. You guys had to tell me. I had to be like, oh, well, I guess I should probably go take a look at that. I already knew it was fake, of course, going into it. Then I took a look at it, and it's like, man, they're putting less effort into each of these fake landings. And now they've pushed the humans going back to the moon mission to 2026. They've been pushing it back for a while. We'll see how far they push it back when 2026 arrives. What excuses they come up with. All right, Manuel Gonzalez with a donation getting us started says, watching from Tijuana. Love your show. Hey, awesome. I'm glad that I have fans down there south of the border in Mexico. And I personally have not been to Tijuana in so long. I have no idea what it looks like now. You know, you hear nothing but bad things about it, but I'm sure there's good things about it too. But welcome, Manuel Gonzalez, and thank you for the donation. I appreciate that. All right, so I thought before we even look at any of the footage or news reports of the lander that supposedly landed on the moon, I thought we'd just take a look at a picture of it. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and I could probably come up with 1,000 or more on just this one picture alone. You know, they don't have the technology anymore. At least this is their claim. They don't have the technology to put people on the moon anymore. They used to, but they lost and destroyed that technology. So they're on their way to building that technology back up. And they consider this a huge success to send a small lander without humans to the moon. And we'll see whether or not the landing was successful and what they came up with. But first, I want to take a look at a picture. Okay, here we go. So there it is, guys. That's the thing that they say landed on the moon. What do you guys think? What do you think? You tell me what it looks like, and then I'll tell you what I think. Rose Bell says impressive. Of course, we have Tweaker Shelter. That's a popular one, of course, that I invented years ago. They say it's the size of a phone booth. Yes. Looks like a dang air conditioner. I don't know, man. If I could choose an air conditioner, I wouldn't want one that stands out that much and looks that clunky. I would want one that's more aerodynamic and streamlined. Even choosing an air conditioner, I wouldn't want that much protruding crap sticking off, right? Evan Spock says porta potty. Jeremy Vicious says Bill and Ted Time Machine. YouTube says looks like a second grade school project. David's Way says lander, no launchy, no landy. Jeremy Vicious says a voting kiosk. Lyric Anasazi says a bunch of trash. All right. So this is just some of the things you guys are saying about the lander, not what I have said yet. So I haven't said anything yet, but those are just the things you guys are saying at first glance. So at first glance, it doesn't look like an awesome space machine in the year 2024, right? I mean, it barely looks better than the lunar module from 1969 and 1972, which of course looks like a pile of trash. So here's my simple debunk of the whole thing before we even look at any videos. This thing right here, man, could never travel anywhere in the air here on Earth. Like, for instance, can this thing get up off the ground and fly here in Earth's atmosphere? No, it can't. This thing can't get up off the ground and fly around. It cannot. It doesn't have that ability. You can tell just by looking at it. If it went over 100 miles an hour in the air, the resistance and the drag would start to rip pieces off of it. If this thing got anywhere near 500 miles an hour, which is how much an airplane can go, it would be destroyed. So the force and the drag, the resistance against it, you can see it's not built aerodynamic. It would be destroyed. So they can't fly this thing off of the ground here on Earth for all of us to see. No, they can't do that. You know what they have to do? They have to take it to magic floaty land. Don't you love that? In order for this thing to work, you have to go to magic floaty space. You know, you have to leave the planet's atmosphere and pop out. And then when you pop out, then you're in magic floaty land. And then this piece of garbage works perfect. Don't you guys know how science works? Yeah, it wouldn't work here on Earth. On Earth, it wouldn't be able to fly around in the atmosphere because it's not aerodynamic and it would be destroyed if you tried to fly it. It's just not built to function like that. It can't fly at all. You have to take it on a rocket. A rocket has to give it a piggyback ride to outer space. And then you shove it off into outer space where then it magically works perfect. You see, once you're in magic outer space, then it doesn't matter if it's not aerodynamic. It doesn't matter if it has all these pieces protruding everywhere or whatever. No, all that is totally cool once you get to outer space because there's like no gravity, no drag, no force. Then it works awesome. So all you got to do is get it to magic outer space, and then this piece of shit magically starts working. Like magic. So what have we learned? Outer space is magic. Yeah, that's the only way that that thing can fly and do anything, is in outer space. It can't fly here on Earth and go and go to the moon. No, that technology doesn't exist. But if you piggyback it on a rocket and take it to magic floaty land and then shove it out the doors, then it can fly and we can control it from Houston. And when I say we, I include me and you with the fake space program, because that's what everyone wants to do. Include themselves. We went back to the moon for the first time in 52 years, 53 years. Isn't that amazing that we went back to the moon? No, we didn't go anywhere. The government claims that they went back without people. Big whoop-de-doo, government. We already know you didn't go the first time. So let's not pretend like this is some sort of accomplishment. All right, what do you guys think? Magic floaty land. That's what I'm saying. So I call it magic floaty land because do you get to go to magic floaty land? No. Do I get to go to magic floaty land? No. Who gets to go? Oh, people who work for the government. You know, like NASA astronauts. People who get to work for space agencies, you know, which is a branch of the government, aka military, the control system. Yeah, people part of the control system, they get to go to outer space. Actors who work on behalf of the control system, they get to go to outer space, aka magic floaty land. Do you get to go? No. Do I get to go? No. We can get on a plane that goes up and then goes down and then goes up and then goes down, and we can float around for a minute or two at a time. Whoa, hey, I feel like I'm kind of in outer space and I feel like I'm going to throw up. because I'm inside of a plane that's doing parabolic maneuvers. That's about as close as you're going to get to magic floaty land. You want magic floaty land? You can get inside of an airplane and do parabolic maneuvers. And for short intervals, you'll be free falling. And that's as close as you're going to get to magic floaty land. You can do that, but you can't ever go. You don't know anybody who goes. The only people who go work for the government. Isn't that interesting how that works? And you just got to trust that there's a such thing as magic floaty land that exists outside the planet's atmosphere. And then the funny thing is, they recently, not long ago, included the moon in the planet's atmosphere. How does that work? When do you pop out into the floaty land part? When you're outside the atmosphere? How can the moon be in the Earth's atmosphere? You have to escape it to get to it, right? Yeah. So there's globe cucks who will have to try and make a video to debunk me. And they'll be like, he didn't go to school. He didn't graduate. He's so stupid. He just doesn't understand how science works. I know how science works, and this thing can't get up off the ground and fly. It doesn't have the ability. So we have to pretend like when it gets to magic floaty land that it magically starts working. Paul Halo Cat says, Jake, I couldn't wait until you covered floaty land moon mission. Yeah, bro, I haven't even got to the footage. We're just looking at a picture. And I've already kicked the shit out of this piece of shit. Have I not? It's like, do we even need to look at the video? Yes, we're going to, but we don't need to. I pretty much destroyed this notion of this thing going anywhere. Oh, it goes to magic floaty land, and then it works perfect, and then it lands on the moon. Oh, yeah, sure. And we used to have people that could walk on the moon and play golf back in 1969 through 72. But this is the best that they can do now. Sure, dude. This is such an easy subject to destroy. And they have globe cucks, agents, actors, what have you, who make videos about me, who will be like, I'm going to debunk Jake the asshole. He just doesn't understand how science works. Hi, I'm Simon Dan. This amazing spacecraft is perfectly capable of landing on the moon, and that's exactly what it did, and it was an amazing achievement for all who was involved. I right now have just debunked Jake the asshole for claiming that this indeed did land upon the moon. Right? So there's dudes who have entire careers telling people that what I'm telling you is wrong. Where does that money come from? All right, you guys ready to actually look at some video? Misanthropic, longtime sub. She says, well, it's been a painful process to rebuild the technology. Give them a break. Yeah. See, the official excuse, and a lot of people don't know this. People who believe in a globe don't even know what the excuse for why they don't go back to the moon is. They lost and destroyed the technology. Words right out of NASA's mouth. Look it up. I can show you in a few minutes if I have to. So Don Petit says, I would go back to the moon in a nanosecond, but we lost and destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back up. It's a famous quote. Anyone who's been following this subject knows it very well. And so they're still writing that claim that they haven't quite figured out how they got humans there back in 1969 through 72. And they're still trying to figure it out now. It's like, dude, that excuse is terrible. Go look at a phone from 1969 through 72, and then look at your phone, and then tell me the difference in technology. You know, it's only like a million bajillion times more technologically advanced than it used to be. Oh, but space travel technology, We lost it and destroyed it, and we don't know how to do that no more. Maybe in 2026 we'll figure it out. Okay. And that seems to work on the general public because the general public doesn't even really know why people don't go back to the moon anymore. They think it's too expensive. And we already went there. I've heard Americans say, we already went to the moon, so who cares? It's too expensive. There's not enough budget for that. It's like that's not the official excuse. I have to teach globe believers what their official excuse is because they don't even know. Imagine teaching people something that I don't even believe in because they don't even know what they believe in. Holy shit. Yes, it's true. Talk to a globe believer. They'll tell you NASA hasn't went back to the moon because they already done been there. And they don't have the funding. So when you actually give them the real answer, no, they have all the funding. They claim they lost and destroyed the technology. Then suddenly they're like, oh, well, I didn't know that. And I don't necessarily know if I believe you. Good times. All right. So let's take a look at some footage. Let's go to the footage. And if I miss some super chats tonight, and it seems like I always do, the smaller amount ones sometimes go flying by and I don't see it and it doesn't stay up for me to catch. So, Rose, try and send me a text if I miss any super chats tonight. And I'll keep trying to remind myself. I even wrote a note so that I don't miss any because I always feel bad when I miss the chats. And it usually happens when I'm showing videos. Okay. So here is the live footage of the lander supposedly going to the moon. Let's check it out. See what we got.
You're taking a live look into Intuitive Machines' Nova Control in Houston, Texas, where flight controllers are preparing to start the landing sequence for the IM-1 mission. Our mission and activity directors are sitting closest to the large monitor inside Nova Control, and they're supported by 10 additional flight controllers surrounding the circular Mission Operations Center. Good afternoon and welcome to our coverage of the descent and landing of the IM-1 mission. I'm Josh Marshall, Communications Director of Intuitive Machines.
And I'm Gary Jordan with NASA Communications. This mission is one of the first under a task order with NASA's Commercial Lunar Payload Services Initiative. Under Artemis, we're returning to the moon to conduct groundbreaking scientific discoveries and technological advancements. And this mission with Intuitive Machines is helping us to get there.
And Gary,
So I want to point out that a lot of the articles and news reports are saying it's a private mission, it's a private company, private this and that, commercial this and that. Dude, it's all NASA and it's all government. So it doesn't matter if it's SpaceX, it doesn't matter if it's Blue Origin or whatever. It's all tied back to government because no one's allowed to fly and go to space without approval from the government. So whenever you look into it, SpaceX is always tied hand in hand with NASA. Blue Origin is tied hand in hand back to NASA and the government. This private moon landing that they're calling, a private company, whatever. It's such a bullshit cover. It's always NASA and it's always the government. It's all nothing goes to fake outer space that isn't tied back to the government.
and I are at Intuitive Machines' facility here in Houston, just down the street from NASA's Johnson Space Center. Right now, inside Nova Control, flight controllers are monitoring our Nova C-class lunar lander named Odysseus ahead of its autonomous landing sequence that begins with powered descent initiation at 5:11 p.m. Central Time for a landing time at 5:24 p.m. Central.
Are the antenna arrays used for line-of-sight communication back to Earth. We'll show the viz periodically throughout our coverage.
Okay, I want to point out down in the corner, the lower right hand side is it says simulation. So now they're having to say that these graphics that they show are simulations because too many people were looking at it and saying that's fake. So a lot of people look at the graphic, they say that's CGI, that's fake. And so now they're having to tell you, no, 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 this is a simulation of what it looks like. So they're coming out now and saying, we don't have a camera there waiting. There's no cameraman. So this is a simulation of what it looks like while it's in the process of going to the moon. So that's their new thing now, is they're showing on the screen that it says simulation and they're admitting to it being a simulation. So whenever you see one of these graphics that's obviously CGI, don't jump right to saying it's fake, it's CGI, because now they're admitting that these are graphics. Their excuse is they don't have a camera following it. They don't have a camera waiting on the moon. And so they can't show you what it looks like as it all lands. So I always argue, how come there isn't cameras all over this thing in, like, 8K, 8K, 16K, whatever? It should be like the most crispiest, best camera technology ever from like all angles all around it. But no, it's always the worst looking video and worse looking pictures that they send back.
Up to about 12 minutes prior to landing. In these final moments before landing, the most reliable spacecraft data will be relayed through Nova Control audio loops.
And we're starting our coverage later than expected today as flight controllers continue to assess Nova C's trajectory, guidance, navigation, and control. Nova C maintained a low lunar orbit.
And then you see they got the globe table right there in the middle. And this is supposed to be their control room. So this is supposedly where they're controlling this thing, this unmanned ship. I've seen guys crash drones, guys who do racing drones, and they have a headset and they fly a drone as if they're like driving the actual drone like itself, sitting in it almost, except it's a headset. And I've seen guys crash drones over and over and over again, the racing drones, because they go so fast and they can't slow down nearly as easy. So imagine trying to control something landing on the moon and flying in outer space from like a computer. Yeah, right. It's just the logistics of, like, I've seen men crash racing drones with a virtual reality headset and they're trying their best to not crash. And so, like, when I see this, like, oh yeah, they're going to control this thing, hundreds of thousands of miles away from a computer, and there's no people on board. You don't even have like a virtual reality headset to like control it or nothing. Blue skies, I'll bounce you and ban you forever if you say stuff like that. This channel wasn't a football channel. It's a truth channel. And I told you that football's fake because that's part of revealing the truth. This channel started by breaking down fake space missions. So if you don't like it, wait till next season and then come back and watch, okay? If you can't handle what I'm talking about, which is the truth, then piss off. I really don't give a shit if you don't like it. This is how the channel started. And there's a lot of people who waited all year for football to end so that I would talk about stuff like this again. So don't ruin it for them. Yeah, anybody saying stick to football or whatever, scroll back 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years and see what I was talking about. It wasn't football. All right. So back on point. So the process goes like this. They show you graphics. And they show you a control room. Show you some footage of people pointing at screens. Graphics. Simulation graphics. This will be a commercial. I'm going to skip through it. Sorry about that. Oh no. All right. So this is a long video. I'm not going to sit here and watch all of it. I just want to like scroll through and show you that it's mainly just the same shots over and over again. Control room, people talking, stock footage from old missions, everything but proof that this thing's landing on the moon, right? We don't see any actual proof of this thing landing on the moon. So let's get to the big moment where it supposedly lands on the moon.
And the key here, Josh, is patience. It's 5:34 p.m. Mission Director Tim Crane confirming that it could take 2 phases of 15-minute increments to confirm the status of the landing. So we could be here, and we'll stand by and monitor as Nova Controls continues to work this issue.
Yeah, tense moments inside of mission control with the most qualified folks.
We're picking up a signal from our high gain antenna and transmitter. It's faint, but it's there. So stand by, folks. We'll see what's happening here.
All right, we're going to continue to stand by. Let's keep this camera on inside of Nova Control. It sounds like we are getting some kind of faint signal.
I want to send a series of commands to reactivate, make sure we're transmitting to keep the Quasonics active.
We're still standing by. The last call from Mission Director Dr. Tim Crane was that we were getting a faint signal from Odysseus's high gain antenna.
All stations, this is Mission Director on IM1. We're evaluating how we can refine that signal and dial in the pointing for our dishes. What we can confirm, without a doubt, is our equipment is on the surface of the moon, and we are transmitting. So, congratulations, IM team. We'll see how much more we can get from that.
An excellent call from our Mission Director, Dr. Tim Crane.
IM1.
And over
Go
to
for
our
Prime.
CEO, Steve Altemus.
Yeah, if I could just pass on a few words to the entire team and
That wasn't as enthusiastic as it usually is. It's like they're losing enthusiasm each time they fake land on the moon. It's kind of funny because like one guy clapped first and he had to like signal the rest of them. Like they had the one dude had to like start clapping first to let everybody know that they're supposed to clap too. This guy right here, he like claps first to let everybody know that like it's time to be happy. Watch. Send him the signal. Trying to isolate that moment. There it is, see? He's the first guy to clap, see? The first one to clap. So 1:40:27. Now I have the timestamp. First guy to clap to let everyone else know. Like nobody else knows. No one knows the news, and he claps first. Look, guys, we're that was a good. I'm happy. Yeah. Now he does it one of these, right? Like it's what now we're like on old school at Arsenio Hall. Roo, 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 roo. Remember that? Doing that? Yeah! Roo, roo. I'm so happy. I'm a human, and I did my job, and I'm successful. Woo! That's what I do when I'm successful at my job too. Whenever I have a good stream, I'm always like, that was a good stream. Way to go, me. Roo, 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 roo. That's what I do. Do you guys do that when you do your job? Like I'm sure some of you out there, I don't know, maybe you like drive a vehicle for a living for whatever reason. And then when you get home, you're like, I totally didn't get in a wreck today, and I made some money at my job. Roo, 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 roo. Woo! Because that's what they do. Conceited assholes. Hey, didn't you used to put people on the moon, and now you can't? How about you save the clapping and the cheering for when you can successfully put people back on the moon again, huh? All right. Paul Halo Cat says, Jake, sing the Indian accent, land on the... Oh, of course. How could I forget? Land on the moon, they land on the moon. Land on the moon, they land on the moon. Land on the moon, we land on the moon. Land on the moon, we land on the moon. We take the rover, we go to the moon. Then you know that we come back soon. Rove to the north, rove to the south, and then you know we rove right up in your mouth, cause we land on the moon. We land on the moon, land on the wicked, land on the moon. Rove to the east, rove to the west. You know that we like to rove the best, because we rove all around. We rove around the town. We rove until there's no place to rove no more, because we land on the moon, land on the moon. Yeah. All right. Phew. Almost lost my breath getting carried away singing that song. Sometimes when I'm singing a song like that, I feel so artistically free that I forget to breathe. Just kidding. Or am I? I don't know. All right. Jonna thinks it's funny. Jonna's one of my mods. And so, mission accomplished. Making people laugh. Good times. All right. Richard says, come on, bro, you're killing me. It's meant to be funny. This is a comedy act where I tell the truth and make people laugh at the same time. I don't want it to be all doom and gloom. They're lying. They're deceiving you. Ooh, it's like, yeah, they've been doing that for so long, and I've done this so many times. I got to make it fun for me. Got to make it fun for you. Got to make it fun for us too. All right. If we're having fun so far, if you're digging what I'm laying down, please hit the thumbs up button. Show some respect and love, and let the Al Gore rhythms know that what I'm laying down is good times. And if you hit the thumbs up, good things will happen to you. So I've heard. Seth Harris says, what are they even celebrating? So this is part of the routine, and I've got one better than this. So this room right here did a terrible job of pretending to be happy. You got like one guy who had to like cue everyone else in to start clapping. And then he did one of these like Arsenio Hall root, root, roo kind of things. And so this is terrible, but I'll show you. They actually like realized that this wasn't good enough. So then they went and got more actors, shoved them all into a corner of a room, and had a lot of people clap and celebrate more hard than this because they realized that this wasn't hard enough. They didn't go hard enough, and they realized it. So they had to quickly throw some extra footage in. Watch. See, because this is pitiful. They're not really that happy. They don't even seem to care that much. There we go. See, look. Look at this. What the hell is this? What is this? All these people crammed together like sardines in the corner of this like warehouse or area of a room. Like what are they all watching one big screen together? What is this? Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. Hey guys, would you ever want to sit that close to anybody from work or just anybody? Do you want to sit packed in like that? Is there anything that you think is so exciting that you want to sit crammed in with all the people like that? I could see if it was a big concert. The only reason I would ever get packed into a crowd like that if it was like a band that I really wanted to see and I had floor tickets or something. Other than that, you're not going to get me to stand around in a crowd of people like that. That's just ridiculous. And then everyone all pretend to be happy all at the same time as if every single person there is like riveted. Imagine every single one of these people is like, are we going to do it? Are we going to land an unmanned spacecraft on the moon? Oh, I hope so. We did. Yeah, right. Dude, nobody cares. If that's your job, and we've been going to space for, years and years. We've been going to space for like 100 years, right? Went to the moon over 50 years ago. And now we're supposed to clap over an unmanned spacecraft going back. That many people? Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? So whenever I see this, it's like, okay, show us it landing on the moon. Here's 100 people crammed in a corner. Is that proof enough for you? They're clapping. They're happy about something. I don't know these people. This could have been filmed anywhere. This could have been filmed in 2010, and they could have just shoved everyone in a corner and said, everyone here gets a free blowjob. And they were like, yay. And then they're like, sweet, now we have stock footage for any time we need to like make it look like people are excited for going to the moon. It is quite the intergalactic achievement to return to the moon after 53 years. The fact that the mission was a bit of a failure is inconsequential for the amount of knowledge that man has gained in the return to put man back on the moon. Also, I'm about to shit my pants and need my diaper changed. Whoopsie. I think that's what the box would say if the box were here to talk to us today. Yep. Some would consider this a failure. However, I see this as a monumental success as we take one step further to putting man upon the moon once again. One day we will see a moon colony built on the south pole of the moon, where hopefully we can discover organisms living within the ice and water at the South Pole. Oh, okay. That's the new thing. They're trying to claim that there's water on the moon down at the South Pole. There's water and ice. So now it's like now they're throwing it out there like that's for sure. There's for sure water and ice on the moon. For sure now. And they want to go down there and check it out. I swear they could show us like blue wet water and be like, there's actual blue liquid water on the moon. You just can't see it because of the moon's atmosphere, and gray rocks just make the water look gray. But there is actual wet blue water there if you go to the moon. See, so they could make up all kind of stupid crap and people would believe it. Look, they got a room full of people. It has to be true. Room full of people. Clap. Rose says, I missed the super chat from Seth. Didn't I go back? I think I went back and got that one. Hope I did. Did I go back and get that super chat? Was it like the $2 one, I think? I think I got it. Okay, good. All right. So this is what they show you as the live landing. Is people clapping, some simulation graphics, some guys talking. All right. Cool. So now we know what that looks like. Let's take a look at some mainstream news reports, because guess what? It didn't just land. Apparently, it tipped over. That's right. It didn't go as planned. Come on. One second, guys. It's lagging a bit. Let me get it set up. So we'll look at some images that it sent back, but apparently it fell over. And so the images that it's sending back are from it being tipped over and stuff. So we'll see what they say.
Houston, NASA and Intuitive Machine officials are discussing the Odysseus moon lander and its current situation. Let's listen.
So very excited about that. What we've done in the process of this mission, though, is we've fundamentally changed the economics of landing on the moon. And we've kicked open the door for a robust, thriving cislunar economy in the future. That's compelling. And so I think this CLIPS experiment, this first landing, this success on the moon, first time in 52 years, is really a point in history that we should celebrate as we move forward to subsequent missions around the moon. We could not have done this alone. This was truly an integrated global effort. And I don't think everybody was aware of that. We returned to the moon as a commercial company, but we had multiple government agencies that we worked with. We worked is really a point in history that we should celebrate as we move forward to subsequent missions around the moon. We could not have done this alone. This was truly an integrated global effort. And I don't think everybody was aware of that. We returned to the moon as a commercial company, but we had multiple government agencies that we worked with. We worked with NASA, of course, and multiple.
Thanks for admitting what I already told everybody. I told you they all tie back to the government, which is what he told you. A global effort. We worked with the government, NASA. So they say a private company. It's NASA. What's a private company? We worked with the government. It's NASA. See? They just came out and done told you what I told you already before he done told you. See, it's always NASA. Nobody gets to go to space unless they're tied back to a space agency, which is tied back to the government. And the governments around the world who have space agencies work together and tell the same lies. It's very easy to follow.
Departments within NASA. We worked with the FAA, the FCC. We worked with the Eastern Range, all of those to get off the ground. We then had a whole series of international partners that we used as not only our lunar data network antenna dishes on the ground, but also in the supply chain. We had Australia, the United Kingdom, Japan, South Africa, the United States dishes, and KSAT dishes, KSAT based out of Norway, in India, Singapore. And I think we did that, and we did that effectively, and I'm proud of the communications team for what they have done. You know, data flows out of mission control in a very sporadic way, whether
Look what they're showing on the screen. They're saying that that's some new images coming in. So they just show you like a gray landscape with some grainy little divots in it. Those are supposed to be craters. And then they just point to a dot and they're like, look at this dot. That's proof that it's there. And then what's the source? The source is NASA. Who took that photo? Where did that come from? So whenever you see one of these photos of anything supposedly man-made on the moon, leftover lunar equipment from any of the past missions, anytime you see any supposed pictures of that, the source is always NASA, the same guys who lied about it to begin with. And it comes from supposedly a satellite that they supposedly have orbiting the moon. I've looked into this. Whenever you find pictures like this and you're like, well, where did this come from? What took this picture? A lot of times they'll say they have a satellite orbiting the moon and that they can see pictures, or they can see that these little dots are leftover equipment from the lunar missions. They'll point to a dot and be like, that's the flag. That's the leftover lunar module base from the 1969 mission. See the dot? It comes from NASA, the same guys who lied about it to begin with. So these shots are always ridiculous, in my opinion, and they don't prove anything.
communications are happening in rapid pace and near real.
Oh, what was that?
Whether communications are happening.
Look at this. What's with the fisheye lens? You know what I'm saying? Look at these images that they're giving us. What? Why do you have to use such a terrible fisheye lens like that? Why would you send a ship to the moon to land there and not have the absolute best camera equipment? So you're telling me that's what you're gonna film with? That's what you're gonna take pictures with? Is some fisheye crap? And then you're gonna just point like at the ground, and you're gonna have your part of the body of the ship in the shot, like it's like taking a bit of a selfie. Come on, man. Oh yeah, well, that's as good as they can get now in 2024. That's as good as they can get, man. That's the best that they got. That's the best that your money and my money can buy, right? The money that they steal from us, that's the best that they can do with it. You just have to believe that that's good enough. This is a graphic. Don't even need to look any further. That's a graphic. That's not real. You would have to have a separate camera filming it, and they don't have that. This doesn't prove anything. This can be cropped in and layered over the top of anything. So whenever I see anything like this where there's some hunky piece of space like equipment from the rocket or whatever blocking half the shot, like, let's take a picture, but make sure to block a third or a half of the shot with our own equipment. Yeah, you can't have a clear shot of anything. Make sure to have your own equipment blocking every damn shot. It's just so stupid. Well, of course, if you knew anything about science, then you would know that this is the most technologically advanced way of taking photos and videos. You, of course, want to obstruct the view, and you want to use as low quality of film as possible. Everybody knows that's the most scientific way about going about landing upon the moon in 2024. Let's see. Any proof of this thing landing on the moon? No, not yet. Not yet. All right, let's go to the next video. All right, this is the one that says that
When
it's
Doug and
about
Andre
to
came to
die.
TurboTax.
So in this news report, this is a current one from only 14 hours ago. In this one, the update is that it fell over on its side and it has hours left to survive. That's right, guys. I know it's very sad news, but the Odysseus lunar lander is going to be dying very soon. It's very heartbreaking and sad. Try to hold back your tears while we watch the news report and get the official word.
Craft to land on the moon in more than 50 years is coming to an abrupt end. CTV's Garrett Barry on why the multi-million-dollar failure is still being considered a success.
Engineers in Houston are racing against time tonight to get more data off of the moon before their transmissions go quiet. Their lunar lander Odysseus is dying. In fact, it may already be dead, doomed by a flubbed landing that put the spacecraft on its side.
Caught a foot in the surface, and the lander has tipped like this. And we believe this is the orientation of the lander on the moon.
Solar panels are pointed in the wrong direction, and so are the antennas, which makes transmission even slower. Earlier today, Intuitive Machines, the company that spent $100 million to build the lander, estimated there were only a few hours left before Odie's battery is depleted.
over $100 million of taxpayer money to send a phone booth size ship to the moon for it to fall over and die within like a day of being there. Oh! Roo, 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 roo. How come everybody was so damn happy if the damn thing fell over and only had a day to survive? Oh, it's still worth celebrating. It's still a monumental achievement. It's still just something that we should root over, of course, even though it fell over and is going to die. Seth Harris Gordon says it doesn't even know it's alive. They want you to feel sad over a machine. Part of what they're doing here with this story, it's very sad. It's in its final hours of life. It's going to cease to live very shortly. It's taking its final images. It's saying goodbye to its computer buddies. Right? It's like sending signals back to its computer buddies and giving its final words, right? It's very sad. You know, I cried about it earlier. I think I'm almost over it. I don't know. It might take a few years and some therapy to get over it. It's very sad. I will remember you. Shooby-doo-boo-boo. Will you remember me? I hope it remembers me. I hope that computer remembers me. Odysseus, Moonlander, we barely even knew you. There you go. I just made that up. Tom coming in with a donation says this news reporter sounds like the KC victim. Yeah. The one guy talking earlier could barely get through his statement without like fumbling over his words. This was a global effort, and a lot of people don't know that. But we work with lots of government agencies, NASA. It's like, yeah, dude, just spit it out. We know. Q and Fee says, on the last stroke of energy, it will send a message in space, and aliens might hear it in 100 sextillion years. I think that's how many zeros is there. Is that 100 sextillion? I don't know. Speaking of Q and Fee, he has a really good video that he put out just a few weeks ago, I think, about the supposed reflectors being left by astronauts on the moon. He basically just destroys the notion. And there's a whole bunch of globe cucks and globe defenders that always talk about these supposed reflectors on the moon. And Q and Fee just absolutely annihilated the reflectors. I never thought to make a video about that, so I was highly impressed. I've always known that that was bullshit, but I never actually like sat and just knocked out a video on nothing but the reflectors. So, dude, I got to give you props, Q and Fee. You destroyed the moon reflectors to the point where, like, I don't even know if it's worth me even doing it. I'll just show people your video. It was done so damn good. So I'm going to go ahead and show a little piece of Q and Fee's video. So basically, now we've reached the conclusion of the Moonlander story. They say it landed on the moon and that it tipped over and got some images. You got a few little snippet images, shots, and now it's going to die. And it might already be dead by the time this stream takes place, which is now. So who knows? So let's go ahead and check out Q and Fee's video, which is really awesome. And I'll go ahead and give him a shout out. Make sure you subscribe to this channel if you like what I'm about to show you. I go back on this page.
need to do is go look at the actual claim. How much should Polaris move according to the globe? But did Polaris move?
Say that again.
Does Polaris move? In 1572, Tycho Brahe measured it. This is a map of the stars. That's what this is. It's detailed precision to the arc second. Henry Draper, we got Tycho Brahe. He measured its location. You know where he put it? When he measured it, 86 degrees 53 minutes. So about 87 degrees. So that's 3 degrees from center.
Say that again.
Tycho Brahe listed it here as 86 degrees 53 minutes. So about 87. So about 3 degrees from the center. And that's in 1517.
Say that again.
In 1572, Tycho Brahe measured it at 86 degrees 53.
Say that again.
Tycho Brahe had documented the position in 1572. It was farther from the center.
Say that again.
Tycho Brahe measured it to be 86. Tycho Brahe.
Say that again.
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 Tycho Brahe.
Which one is it? I looked these images up on Google. This must be a Tycho Brahe. So which one is it? Only one of the four look kind of Danish. And that's the one in the right bottom corner. The rest don't look Nordic to me. What kind of crap is this? Or maybe this is the real one. They all look different to me. In 1572, Tiger noticed a complete new star. Yeah, it popped out of nothing. And nobody ever seen it. Huh. And the star was bright.
My bad. I think I accidentally put on his most recent video and not the one I wanted to. I think I accidentally pulled up the wrong video. 1 second. Yeah, my bad, guys. I accidentally had the wrong video going. I knew that wasn't the right one. All right. This one's about the moon reflectors.
They constantly are measuring it using the retroreflectors from the retroreflectors.
Reflector that's on the moon.
A retroreflector. Reflectors.
Retroreflector. Do you know that retroreflector's on the moon?
Retroreflectors there. Retroreflectors. The retroreflectors at the moon. So the retroreflectors on moon. Retroreflector. Yep. Retroreflectors on the moon.
Laser retroreflector bounce back.
Yes. The retroreflector, the laser retroreflector is still there. Retroreflectors. Reflectors that they put on the moon.
For the retroreflectors. A retroreflector when you shoot a laser at it and it comes back.
They did shoot lasers.
Cities bounce lasers off those reflectors all the time. Bounced lasers off of the laser reflectors left by the Apollo astronauts. The laser reflectors from reflectors that were left there when we went there.
Have a look at this a little closer.
There were 3 laser reflectors placed by the Apollo program. Placed a laser reflector in a different part of the moon.
Those reflectors bounce lasers off of them. The laser reflectors are reflecting lasers that reflect lasers off of the laser reflectors. Lasers and reflectors left on the moon.
We bounce lasers off the reflectors.
You know what? I went to an observatory in America and used their laser to bounce a signal off of the retroreflectors left on the moon. Retroreflectors bounce some lasers off of the retroreflectors left on the moon. bounce laser ranging equipment, lasers to bounce off of retroreflectors left on the moon. Retroreflectors are on the moon, bounce. Lots of retroreflectors left on the moon. They've put retroreflectors on the moon, bounce lasers off the retroreflectors on the moon.
Okay, so this is the laser reflector video, and you may have heard a science cuck mention that there are laser reflectors on the moon and you can bounce a laser off of it. So Q and Fee event in this video, he sets up the premise by showing all of these, what I call globe cucks. There are channels that do nothing but have debates and make fun of flat earthers and space deniers all day. And this is one of them. So this guy on the screen, Craig is his name. Basically all day long, he'll just tell people that Earth is a globe, and anyone who thinks otherwise is crazy. He'll say every space mission is real, all the moon landings are real, and if you don't believe in it, then you're crazy and you're stupid. And he basically makes his living off protecting the globe and mainstream science and trying to goad people into debates. And he even has controlled debates against other people who are his friends secretly, where they pretend to be moon landing deniers. They pretend to be flat earthers. And then he can beat them in a debate and make himself look good for his audience. So if you're wondering who these characters are, these characters, in my opinion, they don't just get paid through YouTube. They get paid through the government as well. They get fake views, fake subs, fake support. And the fact that all these characters are still around, still doing the same crap day in and day out, this further proves my point. And I got a donation from LD. No message attached, just a donation. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Oh, and thank you, Tom, for your donation earlier. I put your message up on screen while the video was rolling. Thank you, Tom.
Moon can bounce lasers off of the retroreflectors left on the moon. The retroreflectors have been there since.
Who put the retroreflectors there?
You know, they were put there by the astronauts, and
a green laser to retroreflector.
It's retroreflectors on the moon. Retroreflectors on the moon, and you can target them with lasers, and you can get, you can take a laser out into your backyard, and if you know what you're doing, you can bounce the laser beam off the retroreflectors and get it back.
Wow, that sounds fucking cool. So I have this powerful laser, and I aim it on the moon, and then the laser bounces back to me where I stand. Let me try it.
A green laser.
Wow, holy fuck, what happened?
You can bounce the laser beam off the retroreflectors and get it back.
You can actually get the light back from the moon.
Ah, the laser light is reflecting back to you. That's amazing.
And the cool thing about it, and of course, a science denier just denies it, because you don't see the results of bouncing a laser off the moon.
Huh? You and Clown Tony just told us the light is coming back. So what is coming back then? What an imbecile.
All you get is a readout from a machine saying, "Yep, I got it."
Yep, I got it. oh my God, that's a huge contradiction.
Mm-hmm. You can take a laser out into your backyard, and if you know what you're doing, you can bounce the laser beam off the retroreflectors and get it back.
So anyone can do this from their backyard, Tony? Only they need like a $20,000 machine.
So yeah, Jen says science denier. I can't. Yeah. So Micktoon, this character on screen, he's made some slander videos about me, calling me a science denier, flat earther, and this and that. And he's tried to make it out like I'm just some dummy who doesn't know how science works. So that's his whole gimmick. That's what he's paid to do, is downplay anybody like myself who comes along and calls this shit out as being fake. The thing is, he won't dare go after Q and Fee. So the funny thing is Q and Fee has destroyed this guy several times, but he won't dare make a video about Q and Fee. He'll make a video about me because I'm a larger than life personality and I wear a funny hat, but he won't go after Q and Fee because he's not nearly as easy of a target to pick on. And so it's hilarious how these guys on screen will tell you, like, oh, anybody can just take a laser. You know, if you knew anything about science, you can just take that laser and just shoot it at the moon. You know, we all have a laser. Just go take your laser and shoot it at the moon and it'll just pop right back at you. Make sure it doesn't like accidentally hit you in the eye. But yeah, the laser's just going to come right back at you for sure. Like they act like that's how it works. But then they also go on to admit, oh, you need a machine to tell you that the laser's being reflected back. You don't actually get to see a reflected beam like coming back at you or anything. No, you have to have a machine that tells you that it's working. So then you look at the machine and you go, is the reflector working? Boop. Yes, it is. Astronauts must have left shit up there. Cool. And of course, if you deny any of this mainstream science, which is obviously bullshit, these guys, their job is to make you out to be the dummy who failed 7th grade science and just doesn't understand. And they have a whole audience of trolls who are like, this guy's so dumb. He doesn't even understand how rockets work. He doesn't even understand how the moon gravity works. He's so dumb. We get it all the time. All right, let's finish this video up.
All you get is a readout from a machine saying, "Yep, I got it." So people with very powerful lasers can aim them at the retroreflectors at the moon, and then of course the telescope that they have too.
Why you need a powerful telescope? Can you not just aim your laser on the moon? You don't need a telescope. Or you want to zoom in on your retroreflector on the moon to see where you're aiming with your laser. Idiot.
You need a powerful telescope. You can actually get the light back from the moon. All right.
Does that prove or disprove anything though?
Well, the micrometeorite impacts on the rocks from the moon is excellent confirmation that the rocks were retrieved from somewhere outside of the Earth.
Oh, the stones with tiny holes in it from the micrometeorites. Huh. I wonder how those reflectors looks like. There should be nothing left, idiot. I wonder how many meteorites and meteorites hit the moon per day. Oh, here. Some NASA dude is telling us the moon gets hit by about 2,800 kilograms of meteor material per day. And for some magic reason, the retroreflector don't get hit. Okay. So if you imagine a typical large musket ball with a mass of 28 grams, yeah, if that hit that retroreflector, so we can just imagine 100,000 of them raining down on the moon each day. That sounds like a lot, but it's a big moon. 100,000 per day. So that means the moon gets bombarded with micrometeorites with a rate of more than 4,000 per hour. So since the moon landing, when they place those reflectors on the moon, that's about 20,000 days times 2,800 kilograms. That's about 56 million kilogram of rock raining down on the moon. And for some magic reason, those retro reflectors don't get hit.
Anyone who's hearing Q and Fee for the first time, he's Dutch. He's from the Netherlands, so his first language is not English. So he's doing his best job to speak a second language, and so I think he does a good job. And after a while, you start to appreciate his voice, and I really like Q and Fee and his channel and his voice. And so if you're not used to it and you come here wanting to talk shit about my friend, I'm just warning you. Don't do it because he's really smart and he's done a lot of excellent work, and I'm showing it to you right now, and he's making an important point. So if you get fixated on the fact that he doesn't sound like a typical American, it's because he's not.
How fast is a meteorite or a micrometeorite? It cannot be burned up or slowed down because of the lack of lunar atmosphere. The speed of the micrometeorites can be between 3 kilometers a second or 70 kilometers a second. The moon is a dusty place, according to NASA. Dust is everywhere. And it's very fine dust. Less than 20 microns. Oh, solutions to the Lunar Dust Challenge. Yeah, you have a dust problem. So you try to solve the dust problem on the surface hardware, like rovers, power systems, spacesuits. And retro reflectors. That's also surface hardware. So the moon got sunblasted by intense solar storms that can strip tons of material from the lunar surface. Yeah.
So if you're wondering where he's going, he's talking about how there's a bunch of micrometeors. They're always hitting the moon, supposedly, and there's a dust problem. So after, 50 years of these reflectors that were left by astronauts sitting around on the moon since the, 1969, 72, whatever, why wouldn't they be covered in dust? Why wouldn't they be destroyed already? And so he's basically just showing you all the scientific data from them. That way it's not just him mentioning that these reflectors should be destroyed. He's given you the scientific explanation from them to set up his next question. Why the hell aren't these things covered in dust and destroyed, right?
A new NASA study suggests the sun is constantly emitting charged particles or ions in all directions in a stream that's called solar wind. And for some magic reason, the retro reflector don't get sunblasted. These tiny lenses should be damaged, sandblasted, or destroyed by micrometeorites. How fast is the solar wind on the moon? Just 450 kilometers a second or 1,000,000 miles per hour. That's a mighty sandblaster. There should be nothing left of that retro reflector. Yeah, this is what NASA scientists have found. It's not me saying this. Pieces of shit. And we have levitating moon dust. Explained in new NASA study. Yeah, the dust particles can levitate just above the surface. Photos from NASA's Lade Mundus mission in pictures. Who took this picture? And these holes should be filled with dust. Levitating moon dust.
Okay, so let's do a quick recap. He showed the globe cucks talking about how you can shoot a laser into one of these reflectors, and I guess this is what one of them looks like on screen. You can shoot a laser from the Earth 238,000 miles to the moon and reflect it and bounce it off that thing right there, and it bounces back to you. But you also need a machine to tell you that it's doing that. And on top of that, all of the dust that they talk about and the sandblasting, yeah, those things I guess aren't covered in any pile of dust. They aren't damaged by any of the sandblasting, harsh conditions. No, they work perfectly. They're still in great, perfect working condition. They have anti-dusting mechanisms, I think. I think they have robot dusting arms that like go, right? I think that'll be NASA's next excuse is they built some robot dusting arms. And they just forgot to tell us. Q and Feet, excellent video, man. All right, if you guys want to continue watching more of Q and Fee's work, and I recommend you do, if you like these sort of space debunks. He does globe debunks. He does flat Earth map debunks because there are fake flat earthers using phony maps out there, and so he basically proves every map and model we're given in some way or another ain't working quite right. And so I really like this channel. It's one of the only channels I will recommend. 2 million views. Good job, man. Hopefully this channel sticks around. And this moon reflector video is from 2 weeks ago. So definitely subscribe to Q and Feet. And the Q name is not related to any of the Q stuff about the Anons or Trump or any of that. So no connection to that at all. So he had this channel name long before that was a thing. All right. Yes, there you go. Shout outs to Q and Feet. That dude, the moon reflector vid right there. Stomped him, dude. How long did that take you to go get all the clips of those guys? Like, did you have to sit there and watch hours and hours of McToon to find those specific clips you needed? Like, God, seems like a ton of work to make that video, dude. This isn't the first time I've given him a shout out. I've had him on for a couple different live streams. I usually have him on once a year when I do my Earth is Not a Globe stream. I always go back to the well, and at some point I have to do a stream where I go over all the information that I pretty much know and condense it into one video about how the Earth isn't a globe and it's not AE map with a dome over the top, and it's not a rectangle with a Pac-Man sun. So the only two human beings really trying to get to the bottom of it and trying to tell people the truth without leading them astray on the subject would be me and Q and Feet. Other than that, all the other channels talking about Earth not being a globe generally are controlled and are generally spewing disinformation. If they talk about a sun going in a circle over a circle AE map with a dome, that's disinformation. It's provably untrue. And so that's why I separated myself from all of those channels and that information years ago. And we're finally to the point now where my audience is big enough and I have enough clout and I've been around it long enough that I can go back and squash some of these shill bags who have either fallen by the wayside or are either hanging on by a pube. You know what I mean, Q. Some of these channels, Q, are hanging on by a pube. You go over and look at Jaren's channel. He's teamed up with Micktoon and Craig and doing debates now. So basically, Jaren's channel is part of the debate now. And debate is what they always want to do to waste your time. Let's do globe versus flat earth debate. It's like, oh, that time waster, where everybody just argues and throws insults in the chat. Nobody really wins or loses. Nothing is gained. Yeah. So we don't do that because it's a waste of time. David Yount says, I own that same shirt, so I'd like to direct everyone to Jake's merch and get you some Jake gear. Speaking of, the ad is outdated because I haven't updated it in years. I created this shirt so many years ago that I got a notice from Teespring, which is now just called Spring, that I need to update it. So over the next day, I should have it fixed. But if it's not currently available, this is my own design that I made back in 2017, right? And that is the original 1969 moon landing, the original photo from NASA. I'm the first person to put that on a shirt, first person to come up with this catchphrase. So, speaking of, let's take a look at some classic NASA footage, and then we'll compare and contrast with what they're telling us now. Because in my opinion, it's a debunk to show what they used to be able to supposedly accomplish and what they're able to do now, supposedly. So all we got to do is go back to the last time they supposedly had people on the moon. How did they get the people home? Well, it's right here. So the last time they had people on the moon, supposedly, they had to be able to get them off the moon and back home. And this is what it looks like.
Three, two, one. Ignition. Right away, Houston. Vector grid. X-side. Pitch over. Vector, you have good thrust.
So there you go. In 1972, you just right off the moon, right? And you can fly right away from the moon and come back to Earth, no problem. See what I'm saying? So they lost and destroyed that technology. It's a painful process to build it back up. They're to the point where they can get a phone booth-sized spacecraft to the moon and it tip over and die after a day. So they're working their way up, man, to being able to land people on the moon again. What a story. Oh, gotta love it. All right. I've done this before. Let's just go ahead and show this moment in slow-mo. Watch this. Let's just cut it down to 0.25. Oh, yeah, man. Look at that. That's real for sure. They had people on the moon in 1972 for sure, man. What is this? Firecrackers? That doesn't seem like it's a rocket thruster properly thrusting. And what's with the fire on the moon? You can light a fire on the moon? How does that work? What's all this stuff that's shooting out the sides? Like all this colorful stuff that's shooting blue, green, red. Well, like a traffic light of colors just shooting out now. Like, what the hell's going on? There you go. So That's back when they supposedly could put people on the moon, but they lost and destroyed that technology. And now they can only get a phone booth sized craft there with no people, and it tips over and dies. So, you know, they should be able to get people back there soon. So what I like about these old moon pictures and videos is it's just like flat, gray, blurry, nothing. Where's the rocks? Where's the canyons? Where's the craters? Oh, well, they landed on a perfectly soft, flat area of the moon. They made sure to find the most perfectly flat, level, soft area of the moon to land on. And then I like how the night sky touches the ground in the background. So they make it out like the moon is so tiny that in all directions the night sky, outer space touches the ground. So it's almost like you look around like you're only on like a 10-mile moon, right? It's like 10 miles in circumference in every direction, right? Or less. No, the moon should still be big enough that you should see vast, long valleys and craters and canyons. The moon should still, to you as a human, seem like as big as Earth. But no, in every direction, it's like the moon just drops off, like the outer space touches the ground in every direction. Featureless, craterless, no rocks, nothing. Sure, of course. You know what I also really love about the old lunar missions is that they took a car. Let's take a look at I gotta pull up a picture of the lunar rover, right? Can't just talk about it. There we go. Pull up the original lunar rover. The first one, the OG, 1969 lunar rover. 69, brother. There we go. All right. Yeah, of course. I'm gonna take a car to the moon. Look at this thing. It looks awesome, doesn't it? Of course you'd take a car to the moon. That's such a great idea to take a car to the moon, right? Because why would you take a car to the moon? Can anyone give me a good reason to take a car to the moon? Well, Jake, since you don't know anything about science and you failed science class, they took a rover to the moon so that they could go drive long distances so that they don't have to like spacewalk everywhere. They can take a car, drive, and go explore the moon. Silly. Oh, is that why they took a car to the moon? So that they could drive it around far away from the lander? Seems to me that the danger element, you know, the chance of dying, goes up exponentially when you involve a go-kart or a dune buggy. I've seen a human drive a dune buggy and take a turn too fast and end up in the hospital. I've seen what happens when somebody drives an ATV or a go-kart or a dune buggy too quickly, turns too quickly, they roll. So we're to believe you're going to send a dune buggy to the moon, where if anything goes wrong and they crash, you're pretty much ensured that your spacesuit is going to get ruptured. You're going to die. I would, if I was in charge, I'd be like, dude, no, you're not having a dune buggy on the moon. You guys will wreck it. You might accidentally hit a moon rock, and then the moon gravity is going to shoot you up in the air. You're going to fall. Your spacesuit's going to get ruptured by moon rocks, and then you'll die. There's no way for anyone to save you if you crash the moon buggy. So no moon buggy, guys. It's too dangerous. See, come on. The danger element alone. You're telling me they protect football players by not letting them have head-to-head collisions. But they're going to send a dune buggy to the moon? Come on. I doubt that anybody wants to drive a dune buggy on the moon, because the chance of an accident exponentially goes up the longer you drive it around. The farther away you get from the spaceship exponentially raises the danger as well, because if you're half a mile away, a mile, 2 miles away from the lander, and you wreck, dude, you're so screwed. Imagine being 2 miles away from the lander and you wreck the moon buggy, like, and then you got to moonwalk back and hope that like everything's a-okay with your spacesuit after the wreck. Dude, no way. I'm not buying moon buggy just because of how dangerous that would be. So the fact that they sent a car, it's mainly to like get the common man, me and you who drive a car, to get you to be like, oh, cool, I drive a car, and they drive a car on the moon. That's cool. I have a car, they have a car. NASA has a car on the moon. Oh, that's cool. I like cars. Right? It's basically what it came down to. I like to drive dune buggies and go-karts. I have a car. So NASA has a car too. Isn't that cool? It's so they could go roving. They go roving. How far away are you going to drive from the spaceship? There's no roads. You're telling me it's all perfectly flat? They found the perfectly flat area perfect for roving. There's no chance of it tipping over because they're excellent drivers. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous just from a danger standpoint. Doesn't make any sense. Let alone like them packing that up into a suitcase and stowing it away on the lunar lander. Yeah, right. See Me Rolling says, I'll still drive the moon buggy on the moon. It would be pretty dope. Yeah, you know, if there was a moon hospital in case anything went wrong, right? If you had an indestructible moon suit that for sure wouldn't get damaged during any sort of lunar accident, then yeah. If you put all those fantasy examples in place, then sure, it would be fun. But it's a total farce and fantasy, right? Yeah, I know. Like, how far would you even want to walk? Anytime you left the spaceship, wouldn't you be terrified that any little thing goes wrong, you're screwed? And so what makes the first mission so funny is like everything worked perfect. It landed perfect. The spacesuits worked perfect. They walked around and had no problems. They played golf. They drove the moon buggy, and everything worked. First try. It was awesome. And then in 1972, we decided to stop going, and then we lost and destroyed the technology. I say we because it was me. It was my fault. I'm the one who lost the technology. I'm sorry, guys. We as NASA lost the technology to go back to the moon. I accidentally deleted all the footage and accidentally destroyed all the blueprints. It's my fault. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It was an accident. So that's why we are going through the painful process of trying to build back the technology. So the date they've set is 2026. It's like, are you going to bring a moon buggy this time too? Are you going to bring golf clubs too? How much of the old shit are you going to redo? Right? So at some point, I think they are going to try and pass off humans walking on the moon again. And you bet your ass I'm going to debunk the living shit out of it. So will Q and Fee. It'll be easy. It'll be like shooting astronauts in a barrel in a fake space vacuum. So if they try to put humans on the moon again in any sort of production, I'm going to debunk the shit out of it. But so far, they've just been pushing the date back. Just pushing it back and pushing it back and pushing it back. And so if you look at what they just recently did, oh, you sent an unmanned craft that tipped over and died? Well, if I believe that, then I should also believe that sending humans would be way too dangerous in the next couple of years. So you better work out the kinks. And that's only if I believe it, which I don't. One of the reasons why our rover was much more successful was because we prayed to the Lord Shiva beforehand. We say, please, Lord Shiva, can you let the rocket with the rover land successfully upon the moon? It is very, very expensive. Please, Lord Shiva, if you can help us, please. And of course, our rocket with the rover was very successful. It is currently roving around right now as we speak. It is roaming around to the left and roaming to the right. It is going to be roaming all freaking night. There you go. Yeah, the Chinese space stuff always looks extra terrible. So it's funny that the Americans don't ever call them out for faking it. China doesn't call out the Americans for faking it. No space organization calls out another for faking it. So they all have to put up with no matter how bad it looks. So the Chinese could do like the worst space fake mission ever, and everybody and their mama could realize it's fake. But the Americans, the American government still has to be like, yeah, the Chinese went too. It looks crappy because it's Chinese, but they went. We're not allowed to say that they didn't go. Well, let me tell you what, when I come back as your Lord and Savior, excuse me, President of the greatest country that there ever was, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to implement Trumptricity into everybody's home. Not only that, our rockets are going to be running off nothing but exclusive Trumptricity from now on. It's greener, it's leaner, it's meaner, it's far superior to electricity. We aren't going to be using rocket fuel. We're not going to be using thrusting anymore. We're going to be using patented Trumptricity from now on. Highly economical. We're going to get to the moon twice as fast as ever before. We're going to see the first ever Trump rover running on Trumptricity. You want to know why? The reason why this last rover failed, why this last landed, why it tipped over? That's because Joe Biden was financing the whole thing. And of course, he doesn't know his head from a hole in the ground. And so that's why it fell over and it failed. With my new lander running on Trumptricity, you better believe it's going to be standing squarely and pointing right back towards the earth. All right. No chance will my lander fall over. You have my word. And then the next thing I'm going to do right after that, I'm going to make China pay for the whole damn thing. All right. Have you guys seen my impression of Creepy Joe? Would you like me to do my world famous Creepy Joe impression? This is what Creepy Joe looks like. He points, he does this. If he was here right now, he would be bumping into walls. He would be fumbling over his words. Have you seen him? Last time you saw him, he was pointing. He likes to point all the time. He likes to do this. Have you seen it? All right. That's my famous Joe Biden impression. All right. If he was here, as you know, he's very old. He would be stumbling around. He would walk right into this wall right now if he was here. Isn't that a wonderful impression that I just did of our president? You know, I can't wait to get back into the Oval Office. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to walk into that office. I'm going to reach right across the desk, and I'm going to look him right in his beetly little eyes, and I'm going to say, Joe, get the hell out of my chair. You're fired. I'm going to pick him up by his scruffy little neck. I'm going to toss him out on the streets of Washington, D.C., and we'll see what they do with him once he's out on the streets. May God have mercy on his soul. Whoa, holy shit. Stop it. Ah, like I got carried away and couldn't stop. Ah. It's like I do my own version of Trump, like where I try and like really amplify all of the Trumpisms as much as possible. Like I really try and take his energy and just really shove it over the top. But really, this is it. Rumford C says that's called channeling, Jake. If you get too good at it, you'll get stuck. Oh, really? I'll be stuck channeling Trump forever? Are you telling me that's a thing? That's a possibility? If I get any better at it, that I might get stuck doing that for life? That would be terrible. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Or would I? Actually, I would wish that on somebody, just so I could see what it looks like. Why not? All right. Both work for the same guys. Biden works for the same guys that Trump works for. There is no lesser of two evils. The only choice is evil, and you don't have a choice. You're stuck with evil. Anybody who disagrees with that, you are wrong. If you prefer Trump because he's more entertaining, I understand. But other than that, it's the same shit, same agenda, same bad guys. Your vote doesn't matter. It's all a big charade. The winner has already been selected. It's probably going to be Trump. And see, when they bring Trump back, then they can have the, BLM riots queued up, ready to go. A bunch of hoodlums burning down buildings. He ain't my motherfucker president. I'm a burn down target because I don't like Trump, motherfucker. Yeah. It's time we come up right now, motherfucker. I'm a burn down target and steal everything in motherfucking sight because I hate Trump so much. Yeah. Right? They're going to have that little scenario waiting for us. And people will be like, Jake, don't pretend to be some angry black guy because that's racist. Really? I've seen plenty of black guys pretend to be corny white guys. You ever see a black guy do an impression of a white guy? Hey, fellas, look at me. I'm Whitey McGee, dippity-doo, and this is how I talk all the time, because I'm a freaking Whitey McGee. Whitey McGee, that's me. Shuck-diddle-diddle. Right, so a black guy can make fun of a white guy all goddamn day long, but if I say there's going to be some dude wanting to burn down Target, and I pretend to be that guy, that makes me racist? I think not. There you go. Some of my patented humor. It's patented, so you're not allowed to steal it or copy it. And if you do, I'll fine you and bitch slap that ass. Why is it every time a black man trying to act like a white man, he gotta act like a corny ass motherfucker? You remember when Will Smith slapped the shit out of me? I still got summertime ringing up in my ears. Is it racist that I do a really good Chris Rock impression, or is it just talent? People that don't like the fact that I'm super talented would say it's racist that I do a really good Chris Rock impression. Those who appreciate my talent will say it's not racist and that I'm talented. That's how that works. I was trying to go to space so I could float around and shit, but they wasn't trying to fuck with me. So I'd be trying to fuck with NASA Man, I was going to put NASA up in my video. I wanted my next music video. I wanted us to go to space. So I was trying to fuck with NASA. But they was trying to fuck with me. I got blackballed by NASA. Man, I got blackballed by Oprah. Oprah and NASA, they ain't trying to fuck with us. I ain't trying to fuck with them. Shit. There you go. Jonah X says, keep up the great work, change, walking, floating around. I'm going to keep up the floating, walking, change, going around work. Thanks, Jonah. That's right. There's really nobody who can even compare to what I'm doing here. There's other channels that are doing good work, right? But there ain't nothing like the one and only, right? This is the only comedy truth stream of this kind that exists. There's just nothing like it. There never will be. See Me Roland says, can you do an impression of Trump playing golf on the moon? Well, quite frankly, I already have a plan in place for exactly that. My drives are going to go further than ever before. I cannot wait to be playing moon golf. Once we are running fully on Trumptricity, we're going to save billions. And you know what I'm planning on doing with all of that money? Trump brand moon golf courses, all right? We're going to allow you residential travel to the moon. All right, you're going to stay in the Trump Moon hotel room. You're going to play Trump Moon golf, everything running on Trumptricity. This will be a reality during the next 4 years while I am your president. That's how great America is going to be. All right, the only thing stopping it from happening is the fact that crusty old Joe is sitting in my office in my chair right now. All right, he's probably pointing at something right now. He's going, all right, Johnny Ringo says, I'd pay you not to do the Chris Rock ever again. Why? That's one of my strongest impressions. I was working on a new one. I saw like that Wanda Sykes chick. I haven't seen her in a long time, and I forgot she existed. Then I saw her, and I was like, oh, she's got one of those voices. White people gotta be doing all this shit all the time. Why crazy white people always need to be acting up? Y'all need to understand, man. Ain't nobody trying to be crazy like that. How come every time a black lady trying to be walking down the street, a crazy white man trying to be getting crazy? I don't know. See, I'm trying to get the kinks worked out. I'll work on it a little more. Yeah, I just saw her recently, and I was like, I think I could pull that off. Every time you see a crazy white man trying to shoot up a building, he always got one of them creepy bowl cuts. Why every time a black man trying to walk down the street, he got to deal with a white man with a creepy bowl cut? Seth Harris says, Jake, you're the modern day Jim Carrey, but better. Yeah, see, he's bought and sold himself out many a time over and over. Whereas I'm totally uncontrolled, haven't sold myself to Hollyweird. And so I can do and say whatever, whereas Jim is confined and controlled. He can't really do and say what he wants. He's stuck having to be the character Jim Carrey, even though he's clearly tired of it and doesn't like it anymore. And I think he has played the part of Joe Biden. When Joe Biden falls going up the stairs, that video where Joe Biden clumsily falls going up the stairs to the airplane, Air Force One, pretty sure that was Jim Carrey in a suit. So I think Jim has played the part of Joe Biden a few times. I think many actors have played the part of Joe Biden, and it's like a running gag to pass around the mask and play the part. Modern day Jim Carrey, by like back in, let's say, the 90s, he was huge. He was undoubtedly like the funniest movie star that there was, basically, and nobody could touch him. Whereas now, like, when was the last time he did something funny? Like, it's been so many years. So I remember when I was a kid and the first time I saw Dumb and Dumber, it was the funniest thing I had ever physically seen. Like, I couldn't stop laughing. And I saw the movie in the theater. And so I know what he was like at the tippity top of his career when he was the absolute most funny. And a lot of people who grew up watching Jim remember Jim at his height of his career. And then when you look at what he's done over the last 20 years, not so much. Not so good. Last 10 years have been pretty bad. Nothing that really stands out like he used to do. So to a lot of people, I'll bet you most people don't think he's as funny as he used to be. They don't like him as much as they used to like him. And he's made a bunch of, Illuminati hand signs and like joked about the whole thing as if it's like, not a serious subject. All while, doing the late night talk show circuit with all those puppets who are serving the elite's agenda. No, he's not blackballed for exposing the entertainment industry. Whenever anyone sticks up for a celeb, like, oh, Jim Carrey's exposing the bad guy, Kanye West is exposing the bad guys, and Cat Williams is exposing the bad guys. You're just literally, you still got 1 foot in Normieville, and you're just basically just going with the TV narrative. No, he didn't. Did he tell you that the building's coming down back in 2001? Did he tell you that no planes were involved? Did he explain that in detail? Does he tell you that the bang bang pow pows are fake? Does he tell you that? Does he tell you in depth about all these space missions being fake? No. Oh, well, it seems that I give you 1,000 times more truth than he does. So what truth did he really expose? Nothing. I always measure any of the celebrities to myself. Like, have they said as much truth as me? No, not even close. Alex Jones, has he said as much truth as me? No. He won't touch any new bang bang pow pow situation. He'll only talk about the old one that he supposedly got sued for talking about. But he won't talk about the Kansas City one. He won't go over it in detail like I did. See, so I always compare myself as my truth and anyone else talking like a celebrity. What are they really exposing? Are they exposing anything like I expose? No, not at all. Nowhere near. Well, what does that tell you? So whenever someone's like, oh, well, Horseface Russell Brand is a truther and he tells the truth and they don't like him anymore. The Hollywood kicked him out. No, I don't buy that at all. Russell Brand is just as much of a shill bag, still tied back to Hollywood, is not telling any more truth than you'll get from Alex Jones or Kanye, which is very minute amount of truth, if any. Hi, I'm Horseface Russell Brand. Right now, government forces are collaborating and corroborating against you and everyone you know right now, and it is essential that I use as many big words as possible to... It's like, so basically, he just basically will read a script and not really expose anything, and people will be like, wow, Russell Brand is one of the good guys now, and he's exposing those evil bad guys. Meanwhile, like, does he expose any of the fake bang bang pow pows going on in detail? No. Too chicken shit? Yeah, they all are too chicken shit to do that. Has Elon Musk exposed that the bang bang pow pows are fake? No. Has Trump exposed that? No, never. Not even when he was president. Oh no, the fake bang bang pow pows happened while he was president. He never said shit. So I always ask, do they talk about bang bang pow pows being fake? Because if they don't, then they don't really tell any truth that I care about. See Me Roland says, can you do an impression of Alex Jones going to the moon? Folks, what we have here is a global conspiracy. They're trying to keep Trump from implementing Trumptricity and taking over the moon and building Trump golf courses. I support Trump all the way. I can't wait to go to the moon and play golf using Trumptricity. All right. And these damn globalists are trying to stop the whole thing from happening. What kind of world do we live in? Now, I'm fixing to take a bite out of one of these globalists' ass myself. Fixing to hunt them down. If they keep going after Trump, trying to stop them from implementing Trumptricity, they're going to have me to deal with. All right? I'm going to start my own private company, and we're going to work with the government. We're going to work with NASA hand in hand so that we can do our own Bill Hicks mission, our own Jones private rocket missions to the moon. All right, we're going to work hand in hand with other global organizations because everyone knows we're against the globalists. That's why we're going to work hand in hand with global government organizations to get back to the moon. Whew, starts to hurt my throat. Okay, I can only do like 30 seconds because this one really hurts my throat. It's esophagus damage, literally. Let me tell you something. If you think that the macho man is dumb enough to step inside the Odysseus lander, well, then you have been drinking a little too much moon juice, if you know what I mean. And you better think that stepping into a Slim Jim, oh yeah. He's gonna puke. Watch out, everyone. He's gonna puke. It's the Undertaker. Mankind. Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid. Unbelievable. Let me tell you something, Mean Gene. If you think that the holster is just going to bow down and let the Chinese land on the moon, you've got another thing coming, brother. Because your brother and your mother need to take my vitamins. You need to say your prayers, brother. The Hulkamania and these 28 million inch pythons are going to be running wild. What you going to do when Hulkamania lands on the moon? Rose Bell wants me to do my chicken impersonation. Oh, yeah, you saw that over on the other channel, didn't you? All right. There you go. Like made me sweat to do all those voices back to back. Like sweating. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The laughing emojis let me know that I'm doing a good job. I appreciate it. If you guys are enjoying it, and it seems like you are, show your appreciation by smashing the thumbs up button if you have not done so already. It really does help. In fact, how many thumbs up do I have? Oh, it looks like I might have missed a super chat too. All right, I have 508. Let's get it up to 600 thumbs up. 600 thumbs up. I think I might have missed the super chat. Let me see if I can go back and find it. I could be wrong, but I thought I missed one. Alex Jones going to the moon. Got that one. Shit. Can't find it. I hate when I miss super chat, so I'm going to try it to make sure not to miss any tonight. Well, maybe I didn't miss it. Okay. I just went back a long ways and perhaps I didn't miss any. Yes, hit the thumbs up, please, please, please. All right. So another thing I think that happened, I didn't hear as much news about, but I think there was another spy balloon over Utah. Let me just go ahead and throw that on real quick, and we'll just bust that real quick because they didn't make much of a deal about it this last time. But apparently there was a balloon intercepted over Utah, so we'll just go ahead and check that out, and I'll give my thoughts on these balloons because we saw them make a big deal about it last year, and so they're repeating that same story. So let's see what this time they have to say.
U.S. fighter jets scrambled in the skies over the U.S. after reports of a high-altitude balloon
flying over the western United States. Tonight, a U.S. official now confirming that NORAD aircraft intercepted the balloon some 40,000 feet over Utah. The balloon described as about 50 feet tall, carrying a small payload about 2 feet square. The incident, of course, coming a year after that Chinese surveillance balloon was spotted over the U.S. and then shot down off the coast of South Carolina days later. Tonight, of course, the main question, who is behind this balloon? Authorities releasing a statement just a short time ago, and our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce, leading us off tonight.
Tonight, in the skies above the western United States, NORAD sending up fighter jets to track a high-altitude balloon flying at 43,000 to 45,000 feet. An official tells us the balloon is some 50 feet tall with a 2-foot payload. Its contents unknown, and they do not believe the balloon is being steered remotely. The military first spotting it over Utah. It is now drifting east. No word on who sent the balloon, where it's going, or what its mission might be. The Biden administration keenly aware it comes just a year after a Chinese spy balloon was spotted flying clear across the country. President Biden ordering it shot down off the coast of South Carolina. That balloon was much larger than the balloon currently drifting across the country. Its payload alone was the size of 3 buses. Tonight, the origin of this new balloon unclear, but officials telling us it does not pose a threat to national security.
Well, imagine that another mysterious balloon shows up about exactly a year from the last one. It didn't happen during football season. Now, they wait for the football season to end, and then they have these stupid stories ready for us. Oh, they waited exactly a year. And this one, it's a total mystery. They don't know who, they don't know where, they don't know why. All they know is it was a balloon. And so they shot it down. Okay. And they say fighters intercept the high altitude balloon. So I suggest that these can be like a training drill. You could have a pilot of a aircraft who's new shoot virtual guns or a virtual missile at a balloon, and then trigger the balloon to pop as a training exercise. And then you could just say on the news that the training exercise was a spy balloon that was intercepted, right? So they run training exercises at schools where bang, bang, pow, pow situations happen, and they call that real. So why couldn't they just run a training exercise with a balloon, have a plane virtually shoot down a balloon for a training exercise, and then they can just say on the news that, oh yeah, it was a spy balloon from unknown mysterious places. So there's a number of things they could do with the balloons. I was thinking like you could see in the future, for instance, a balloon has been spotted over New York City. So therefore, you aren't allowed to leave your house and you have to lock down until we get rid of the balloon. There might be poisonous gas inside the balloon. Poisonous gas has been released from a balloon over New York City. So that means the entire city is on lockdown until further notice. See, there's something that they're going to do with these balloons. They're setting up the stage. So at some point, expect something. I don't know what. I'm just guessing. But they're setting the stage with these balloons. So I know they really want to find ways to lock people down and get people scared. And just having a balloon looming over a major city would be a reason for them to be like, locked down and do not go outside. Don't even look at it. Don't video it. Just hide it inside your closet. I've been trying to tell everybody for as long as I can remember, the Chinese spy balloons are coming, all right? And they're going to release invisible Chinese nano drones by the bazillions. It's probably going to release around 100 sextillion little nano robot drones that are going to fly directly up your asshole. You better put your Bible where the sun don't shine if you want any chance at surviving this invasion. But I think you're not going to have any chance unless you subscribe or don't. But at any rate, So yeah, nothing came of the balloons, and we haven't heard anything more about it that I know of. So that one was basically a big nothing burger. So who knows? Maybe they'll do the balloons again next year or something. But it seems like they could, if they wanted, lock down a city or an area just by having a balloon over the top. And if they wanted to like use an excuse, they could say it's filled with possible poison gas, right? It's filled with disease 69, which you don't even want to know how bad it is. Let me tell you something. I know I'm being watched right now by evil piece of shit government agents. If you want to buy me out, I have a price. You want me to stop what I'm doing, quit and walk away forever? My price? $100 sextillion. That's right. I want $100 sextillion. And I'll stop what I'm doing and never make another video ever again. I'll stop cold turkey. Wire $100 sextillion to my bank account right now, and I'll take down the YouTube channel and never speak another word of truth or comedy ever again. That's my price. $100 sextillion. And not a freaking penny less. $999 sextillion? No, thank you. Not enough. Or no, wait. 99 sextillion, not 999. I said that wrong. Yes, I'm a sellout. For $100 sextillion, I will sell out. But they haven't given it to me yet, so I'm not officially a sellout. You have to actually take the money or be offered the money. So you can't sell out until you've been offered the money and then take it. See how that works? So as it stands, I still live in this office and drive a Toyota Sienna from 24 years ago. Nine Luftballons, and then you know nine Luftballon, 99 Luftballon. I think that's how it goes. Inflation schmation. They need to put $100 sextillion in my account. Otherwise, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. That's right. I'm going to kick NASA in the balls. I'm going to kick the NFL in the balls. I'm going to kick the government in the balls. And I'm never going to stop unless I get $100 sextillion. That's my price. We all have a price, and that's mine. Yep, if you comment here and agree with me, you are now being watched by the government. You know what I like to do because I'm always being watched? I like to talk into my phone and be like, hey, you stupid piece of shit. You're a dumb bitch. Suck my ass. And then I like to go take a shit, and then I take my phone and I put it right up to my asshole while I'm taking a shit because I know that they're watching. Like, hey, you want to watch me? Watch me take a shit, bitch. And then I put my phone right underneath and film myself taking a shit so that all the agents watching me have to look at it. Just kidding. I don't do that. Tell me that wasn't funny. You guys know you're being listened to all the time, right? Your phone has a microphone, and the microphone's listening to you talk all the time. If you have an Alexa or any smart device. It's always watching, always listening, right? So what I like to do, since there's always this artificial intelligence, people watching and stuff, I like to give out wrong information to throw them off. So artificial intelligence, you know, like you'll say to someone, "Oh, I'm thinking of going to Vegas next weekend," and then suddenly you look at your phone and there's all these hotel offers for Vegas. You're like, "Holy shit!" It's like they're listening to me, right? You guys know what I'm talking about? Start seeing these ads for stuff that you just talked about. So what I like to do is talk about stuff that I'm not going to do, to throw the algorithms off, to throw the artificial intelligence off. So I'll be like, "Yeah, I'm planning on going to Zimbabwe and taking some camel riding lessons." And then I look at my phone and it's like, "Oh, travel options to Zimbabwe, 40% off of camel riding lessons." And I'm like, "Ha, ha, ha, ha. I'm not even going to Zimbabwe, stupid. I just made you look that up for no reason. Ha ha, artificial intelligence. I tricked you. I'm not going to Zimbabwe. I'm not taking camel riding lessons. I tricked you. Ha ha ha. I made you do work for nothing." Artificial intelligence. I got real intelligence, bitch. There you go. That's my artificial intelligence joke. I told that one a long time ago and I just remembered it. That's what I like about my jokes, is sometimes I remember them out of nowhere. And I remember that I have a good joke already lined up for such topic. Miguel says we should start a GoFundMe for Jakey. Oh yeah, for me to go to fake space, right? Yeah, they don't let regular people go to space. That's all bullshit. They'll have celebrities go to fake space. So they'll have like William Shatner, you know, get on a plane with a bunch of actors, and then the plane does parabolic maneuvers, and people will be like, "Woo, look, we're floating." And they'll show that and be like, "Look, some actors and celebrities and stuff went to space, but you don't get to go." And I wouldn't, you know, do any sort of GoFundMe for any sort of thing I know that can't happen. I know I can't go to space because space doesn't exist. So I would never do a GoFundMe for it. I've thought about doing some sort of GoFundMe for, like, you know, trying to do a trip to Antarctica. But if they just take me on a boat to some ice and go, "Look, that's it," and then just let me off the boat for a minute to walk around and then put me back on the boat, then that I'm not really proving anything. So even that I thought about, and I'm like, shit, that won't prove anything. So any sort of GoFundMe that I do, I want there to be like a goal and something that happens that people feel like it's, you know, money well spent. So that's why I haven't ever done anything like that. It's because I'm not about taking people's money or trying to scam people in any sort of way. So if I was going to do any sort of GoFundMe, I would make sure there's some kind of positive result at the end to give everybody a reason to have funded the whole thing to begin with. I have thought about funding a billboard that says the NFL's rigged, but I think that might get me killed. So I thought of having you guys and me fund a billboard right next to a stadium that says the NFL's rigged. But I think word would get back that I arranged that, and I think something like that could definitely get me whacked. Like, me talking is one thing, but I think if I put it on a billboard, that would get me in some serious shit. So I think there's some things I should probably not push that far. But I've thought about it, funding a billboard that says, you know, the NFL's rigged right next to a stadium or something. There's enough gambling revenue and wise guys involved that they can be like, whoever did that is going to die. Like, me running my mouth on my channel during my streams is one thing, but putting it up on a billboard where, like, traffic going past can see it, yeah, that would be crazy. Jonna X says, "Hi Jake, could you please do your Middle Eastern liquor store owner and his music skit?" Okay, let me remember how that one goes. Oh yeah, so we all know it's not a stereotype that there's a bunch of Middle Eastern convenience store owners. And so, of course, we've all went to a convenience store and then the dude is listening to Middle Eastern music behind the counter. Have you ever went into a store and the dude's got some Middle Eastern music blaring and it sounds something like and he's back behind the counter like rocking out to the Middle Eastern music, and then you hear it and you're like, that sounds really good. Your people make such beautiful music. Have a good night, bro. And he's like, thank you, come again. And it's like, and he's like back there rocking out, right? And so I'm like, I'm into like guitar solos and bass solos. So like if I see someone play a really sick guitar solo and it's like, I'm like, whoa, that's sick. Whereas a Middle Eastern dude, he'll hear another Middle Eastern dude go, and he'll be like, oh, I love this part. This is my jam. I love when this guy go, so it's crazy how, like, you know, I'm a white dude and I like to hear sounds coming out of a guitar like, and I'm like, that's sick. And then like a Middle Eastern dude, he gets the same pleasure out of hearing another Middle Eastern dude go, isn't that weird? There you go. The Middle Eastern guy joke. Just for Jonna. Thank you, Jonna. I appreciate the donation. You're a longtime supporter of the channel, so I appreciate you being here. Thanks again, sweetheart. Like, tell me an Indian song that's badass, right? Can you name an Indian song that everyone loves? Or pretty much all of them, like, pretty much the whole time. How much to book me for a comedy show? I don't really do live comedy because it's like a whole different thing than what I'm doing now. So it's like I do these live streams and this type of comedy that I perform sitting in a chair using video clips and doing impressions, trying to like turn that into a show in front of a live audience. It's slightly different. There's elements that I could do and make into an entertaining stand-up show, but finding the right spot and making sure that it's nothing but my audience is the problem. Like if I am going to perform, I want it to be my audience, and I don't want to have to try and perform for random people at a comedy club who don't know my humor or get it, because they'll yell shit out and interrupt me and whatever. So I've tried to do comedy in actual comedy clubs, and audiences can be absolutely terrible. Sometimes people talk loud, and so I hate performing for a bad crowd. But it would be fun to do a live show for a crowd of my audience live. So I would be open to performing live, but it has to be the right crowd at the right venue. See what I'm saying? Marcus Miller says, you the man, one of two, all support. Thanks, Marcus Miller. I like Marcus Miller, the bass player. He's got some awesome slap riffs. I don't know if you've heard of Marcus Miller, the bass player, or if you are Marcus Miller, the bass player, then that would be even crazier. Miguel says, do the Mexican improv song for like 30 seconds. Okay, every Mexican song sounds exactly like this. rum pum 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 rum pum 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 dígalo. Rum pum pum pum. There you go. Every Mexican song ever written, all rolled into one. And as you know, I speak perfect Mexican. Yina yone, yina yone. Toscadana says, I think Mexican music sounds like polka. Hey, they love to get down and dance and party. And if you've ever lived next to a Mexican family that has big get-togethers and parties, they'll go all night, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. Like, still, and you're like, oh my God, they've been at it for like 6 hours. There's no way they can still be having fun. Like, dude, everybody gets tired of partying after 4 or 5 hours straight. What the hell? No, they'll just keep going, man. Black people music. See, I don't want to, just act like that they only make rap or only make this type of music or that type of music. It doesn't work the same because there's a lot of old school funk music and old R&B stuff that I think is awesome. And so there's music that's made by black people that I really love and enjoy, that's older. And so I don't look at like the shitty rap that's made today and judge all black people by making bad music, because some 70s funk is awesome. Like, go watch Larry Graham slap the bass back in the day. He's awesome. Go watch any of the old soul groups and stuff. They made good music. So like, I don't got any trash to talk about black people making bad music, because back in the day they used to make awesome music. Back in the day, dancing at nightclubs was real popular, and so like disco and stuff, like it didn't matter if you were black or white, as long as you wrote a cool groovy song that people could dance to. That was what it was all about. So back in the 70s and stuff, like, shit, if you came up with a cool groovy tune, you'd be just as popular whether you were black or white. You know what I'm saying? So I wish that good music was still made like it was back in the 60s and 70s and 80s, early 90s. Yeah, so the slapping and popping was first made popular by Larry Graham, Stanley Clarke, black bass players. And then later on, guys like Flea and Les Claypool also became real popular slappers. But before Les Claypool and Flea were popular slap players, Larry Graham is considered the grandfather of the thumb to popping technique on the bass. If I'm going to watch a movie, it has to be an old movie. I can't sit for 2 hours and watch a new movie. And new movies generally suck, and it seems like it's just all evil programming. Whereas, like, movies from the 80s and 90s, there was still some Americana cinematic thing. There's acting that was better. There's something about old classic movies that were done good that are still watchable. And I know it makes me sound like an old fogey. Back in my day, we used to have good music. I can't listen to this dang fang new rock and roll in there. So I don't want to sound like a grandpa, but like, yeah, I can't sit and listen to new music. I can't sit and watch new movies. I can only go back and watch an old movie. And I have to be in the right mood to sit and watch an old movie start to finish. Rose Bell says, what happened to Retro's super chat? Did I miss one? Let me go back and try and find it. I'm not seeing it, and I just went back several minutes. Did I miss one a while ago or something? So yeah, if you want to decode some future scripting, so basically they will prepare you for future events and stuff with pre-programming in the movies. So conditioning, that's what I was looking for. So they'll condition you with the movies as to events that are going to happen in the future and stuff. And so if you're looking to like decode their evil messages and look into the pre-programming and conditioning for possible events and stuff, I just don't want to sit there. You get what I mean? So even though I know I could watch a current movie and then make connections to what's going on in the news or what could happen in the future and make content out of it, I just personally can't sit there and for 2 hours watch a new movie. I just don't want to. I always feel like I should be doing something else, you know? So yeah, I just don't want to, even though I know that they have a bunch of Netflix movies and Netflix series that run concurrent with the fake news and will basically forecast what's going to happen in the future. I just can't sit there and watch a bunch of Netflix crap in order to try and decode it. I'd just rather wait till whatever fake crap happens and then break it down. I would recommend, if you guys want to have a fun night, eat a little bit of mushrooms, catch yourself a good buzz, and go back and watch Wayne's World #1, the original Wayne's World. That's a funny movie. Just to go back and have a lighthearted, fun evening, an easy movie. It stands the test of time, Wayne's World. It really does. It's still funny, but it helps to catch a buzz beforehand. And you can get into that 90s mindset. Remember what it was like before everyone stared at a phone and a computer screen. But yeah, if I want to go back and watch a classic comedy, and I know it's going to be funny, and there's going to be little parts for me to look forward to. Every 5 years or so, I like to go back and watch Wayne's World. And the last time I went back and watched it on a little bit of mushrooms, it was actually one of the most enjoyable viewing experiences of the movie ever. And I've seen it 20, 30 times. So the time I enjoyed it the most was the last time I saw it on mushrooms. It's actually, when you think about it, if you watch that movie and think about it on a deeper level, it actually has to do with selling your soul. So Wayne and Garth, they sell the rights to their show to the big corporate sponsor, Noah's Arcade, and then they lose control over their show. They lose creative control. And so that's like the cost of selling out. They basically show the dark side of what happens when corporate interests get involved with your love and your passion. And so basically, without telling you that, that's basically showing you, like in the movie, that if you sign away creative control to something you love, it definitely can change for the worse. So there's things about that movie that are that I take away when I go back and rewatch that I never took away when I was a kid. Miguel says, what are your thoughts on Saturn's hexagon? Well, I guess I haven't looked into it, but I know the occult love Saturn, and I know that the occult love hexagons. And so you see a ton of companies using like hexagons as their logo now. And then they're saying in the future there's going to be this Neuralink technology where a bunch of these little nano-size hexagons combine together and coat your brain, and then they can send Neuralink messages to your brain through these little hexagons that go together. Some people could even go as far as to claim maybe the hexagons are being injected into people through the jabs. But exactly what you're talking about by Saturn's hexagon, I'm not totally sure. I'm not sure if that's some recent thing. Then before I shut down the stream, I had like one last thing I saw, something about like Stallone wanting to leave California or something. Let me look it up real quick. So you're seeing this narrative more and more, you know, like, oh, you got to leave California and go to Florida because Florida's magical paradise and it's amazing. California's terrible, and if you go to Florida, all your wildest dreams will come true and it'll be amazing. It's like, yeah, well, go to the hood in any of those big cities in Florida and tell me how nice it is. There's places in Florida that are absolute hellholes too. So let's not act like Florida's some amazing magic wonderland. But that's kind of what they've been pushing.
Welcome to Biola University.
Your mother and I have decided it's time to move on and leave the state of California permanently, and we're going to go to Florida.
Wow, he's getting a warm welcome too. Cue the Rocky theme music this morning. Actor Sylvester Stallone announcing on his reality show, The Family Stallone, that he is permanently leaving California, moving right here to the Sunshine State. Florida's First Lady, Casey DeSantis, made sure to let the Hollywood icon know that he is welcome in the state by posting on social media.
And he and his wife have had a house down in Miami for a really long time.
House?
They've been, yeah, an estate.
An estate.
A McMansion there on the water.
Cue the Rocky theme music this morning. Actor
Your mother and I have decided it's time to move on and leave the state of California permanently, and we're going to go to Florida.
Wow.
Yeah, I already see the comments you guys are making about Stallone's partner there.
Hey, you know, I've been doing a lot of thinking, you know, and I think we need to leave the state of California, you know. We need to go to Florida. We need to take Uncle Polly. We need to take the robot from Rocky IV. you know, a lot of people are leaving California, you know, and they want to go to Florida. And, I've been thinking about it for a long time, you know.
Right? Yes, because California is terrible and Florida is just magical paradise. Yeah, go to the hood of Miami and tell me what that looks like. Go to the hood of Tampa and tell me how nice it is. There's some hellholes in Florida too. So one thing I've been thinking is like, okay, if they get a shitload of people to relocate to Florida, they could have some sort of scenario where travel is restricted. Like, oh, boogeyman disease 2.0 broke out. And so to keep the disease from spreading, we're going to need to restrict travel across state lines. So you're not allowed to leave the state of Florida. And now you're like locked in. If like the only way out of Florida is at the north end, and then they got you basically locked in, you know? So there's some situation where in the future they could like lock everyone into Florida. And now you're like, you got the ocean all around you, and there's only like a few ways out up at the north, and they could just like lock down all the routes out. I don't know. So I've been trying to think of a situation where maybe they seal off Florida. Come to Florida. It's way better than California. Yeah, get out of all those other states and go to Florida. And then they can seal off all the routes to leave. I don't know. Who knows what they're planning there?
Yo, Adrian, you know, a lot of people are packing up and they're going to Florida, you know. I don't want to live in California no more, you know. Hey, Polly, Polly, you think I'm dumb? You think I got no brains? You think I just thought about this tomorrow?
It's all about where you go, where you live, how much money you have. If you go to a nice part of California, that's awesome. If you have money and you can afford high rent and afford a nice place, it's fine. It's great. Good weather. You can choose to live in the mountains. You can choose to live out in the middle of nowhere where it's surrounded by farmland. You can live out by the beach if you can afford it. You can live in a big city, a small town. So California's got all the different choices. If you never want to see snow ever again, you can live in a place where there's never snow. Or you can live in a little mountain town where it snows every year and you can go skiing and live nowhere near a big city. And so your life in a tiny mountain town in California would be nothing like living in Los Angeles. And so it really all depends where you live. California is a gigantic state. And if you've got money, you can create, you know, a great life for yourself and live in a wonderful place. It just all depends how much money you have. You know, just like if you have enough money, you can go to a shitty state where it's boring and there's nothing to do. As long as you have a big, nice house and cool friends, you can create your own cool life and stuff to do. As long as you have enough money to create something, you know? So it all comes down to like your own resources and what you can create around you, you know? Like, for instance, I just went to the beach a few days ago because I haven't been in like 5 months since last year. And so I just went over to the beach and it was 60 degrees and sunny. And I drove my electric scooter around and it was awesome. So spending the day by the beach in California on a nice day, it kicks the shit out of living in Oklahoma, for instance, or any of those crappy Midwestern states. Northern California is really nice and there's hardly any people. So once you get north of Sacramento, the state's virtually empty. Like, as far as all the towns are small, they're spread out. All the north coast in California is like beaches with nobody on it, no homes, nothing. And then there's a few tiny towns along the way. But once you get north of San Francisco, I could show you a map. Like, it's just miles and miles and miles and miles of beautiful beach front property that nobody lives on. So the whole notion that that the United States is overcrowded or California is overcrowded is not true. It's only the big cities that are overcrowded. Once you get out of the big cities, there's a ton of land that's not even being used. There's beautiful land, oceanfront property, hundreds of miles of it, and nobody lives there. No houses, nothing. You could go walk out on the beach naked for miles and not see another soul. And so when we're told that there's a population problem, it's bullshit, because you can fit everybody in the world into the United States comfortably if you really needed to. I'm not seeing anyone named Retro send any super chats. So I'm not sure what you're talking about, Rose, because I'm staying on top of the super chats as best I can. Here's one. Never mind. I did miss this one. Retro Bill says black chick, gay white chick, or excuse me, black chick, gay white guy, last to die in new films. Yes, those are always the smartest, most important characters nowadays. Like, the reason why NASA made it to the moon safely back in 1969 through 72 is because all black women are so smart. And the reason they can't go back is because they aren't as smart anymore. I don't know. I haven't figured it out. Ask black women why we can't go back to the moon now. They should figure it out since they're so smart. Hey, every state has its ups and downs, bro. I've traveled, and so I know what a hellhole looks like. And you can find a hellhole in any major city. Basically, every major city has a bad side, and the bad side is a hellhole. And so if you were to go to the bad side of Chicago and try and act like that's way better than California, no, it's not. You know what I'm saying? So every major city has a terrible side that you don't want to be. And so trying to lump all of California in a box is like, it's a mistake, because there's people who own land, love guns, and are not lefties at all who live in California. You know what I mean? There's people who own farms and cows who are actual cowboys, actual farmers who live in California, who live a life nothing like somebody in Los Angeles in the hood, And so somebody who owns property up in the mountains, and votes conservative, they don't even need a vote. Let's just say they have conservative values. They're nothing like the people that you're going to find living in South Central Los Angeles, for instance. So it really depends on the area you're in. So if you want to be surrounded by white people in California, you can go up into the mountains in a mountain town in a nice neighborhood, and you'll be surrounded by nothing but white people mostly. And then likewise, you can go to certain areas that are basically all Hispanic, all Mexican, and you're like the only white person around. So it can all just depend where you go. And then you can go to beaches, like I said, that are deserted, where you're the only person around. See what I'm saying? So how many beaches can you go to over on the East Coast, that are completely deserted for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles? It's just not the same. Okay, we've hit the 3-hour mark, and that's usually when I'm tired and ready to shut down the stream. So we'll go ahead and call it a night now that I'm wearing down and getting hungry. And so thank you guys for hanging out with me on a Wednesday night. I'll try and do another stream maybe this weekend. I'll try not to wait so long this time. And maybe next time we could just do an open chat and just talk about whatever. I don't know. So until next time, thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thank you all for being here. Anybody who donated, thank you. Thank you. Anybody who just left a message and I didn't read it, I always go back and rewatch my streams and I read everybody's comments. So if you think I missed your comment, you're wrong. I'm going to go back and read every single one. So thank you guys for being here with me tonight and hanging out. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.